and welcome back to another video here on the Simply Car Things YouTube channel. Now today we have a very special car to review. This is a 2018 BMW F22 M240i. And big shouts to the owner, Matthew from The Speed Addiction. Please go ahead and check out his YouTube channel, which I will have linked down below, as well as his Instagram, for allowing me to review this car today. It is quite special. Now, many of you guys are probably familiar with the M235i that I used to own on my channel. I'm quite familiar with the F22 platform, and this car is essentially in so many ways an M235i with just a slightly different powertrain, being the B58. This M240i specifically is a 2018, as I stated previously. It's an LCI model, and it's not entirely stock. The powertrain has been modified just a touch. Woo! It's quick. It's running a Dorch Stage 2 high-pressure fuel pump, a CTS Turbo catless downpipe, and it's also running an MHD Stage 2 remap with an E40 tune as well. So we're running an ethanol blend. And according to the owner, the power is estimated at somewhere between, it's quick, 460 to about 490 wheel horsepower. And oh my God, guys, is this quite a step up from the N55 engine. This thing is a rocket, guys. Holy crap. So the B58 engine, I mean, this is one of the first times. Wow. This thing moves, guys. It is extremely quick. If you're kind of in that position where maybe you want an M, but it's a little bit out of your price range, but also you don't want something like a 335 or, you know, a 328 or even a 230i or something like that, the M240i really is that perfect car. They have gone up in price quite a bit with the current status of the market. I mean, we're talking, you know, 35 grand or so for one, for a relatively clean example at least. And I'd say even then, the price is worth it. This is probably the best non-M BMW that you can buy that is still on sale today. Obviously, the 2 Series with the F22 generation is ending its production relatively soon here. And we have the G42 2 Series that was recently announced. I'm actually at Palomar Mountain in the San Diego County area, and just taking this car through these back roads. I mean, it's on the stock suspension setup. It's running a 245 squared setup with Bridgestone RE71Rs all around. So pretty good tires, but we're talking stock brakes, stock pretty much everything else aside from those engine mods. And it's pretty impressive. I mean, the traction control is kicking in a fair amount. This is an open diff. I mean, this car does not have a limited slip differential. But even then, the handling is actually pretty damn impressive. This car feels very planted, especially for just having a standard suspension system, unlike something that you'd get in the M2. But really, my God, what is the most impressive aspect of this car is the power. This thing is so freaking fast. This B58 engine it's like you put your foot into the gas pedal and just instantly you're met with this massive shove of torque and just pure performance and power. Unlike the S55 engine in my M4, which tends to have a little bit more buildup as compared to something like this B58, it's amazing how responsive this twin scroll turbo is. And then you also have the efficiency with its air-to-water cooling system. Very, very impressive powertrain overall. I mean, this engine, especially again, for the fact that it's not even like the S58, which is exclusive to the M variants, this B58 is so competent. It is more than enough engine and power for the vast majority of drivers on the road, and man, this thing moves. Holy cow. I'd say it's got a little too much power maybe for these roads. You know, this is not my car, so I don't want to go too damn crazy. Even the factory brakes aren't too bad. The pedal feels a tad bit spongy and not as responsive per se as something like the braking system in my M4, but overall for just a little like canyon run, it's pretty damn good, I'd say. The ZF8 gearbox as well is quite impressive on this car. It's something that I definitely have just always liked about these cars. I mean, it's not as... It doesn't have as much feel as the MDCT transmission. It doesn't have as much responsiveness or kick. But in terms of just the speed of the upshifts and the downshifts, it's there. You hit the pedal, it gives you the gear when it wants to. It just lacks some of that feedback, I guess, that you would otherwise get with something like a dual clutch or even a manual gearbox. But this 8-speed with this power level, I'd say definitely suits the car. A manual transmission in this car would be a lot of fun as well, but me personally, just again, with the amount of power that this car has, with the amount of speed and ground that you can cover, I just feel like the 8-speed just suits the car better. Steering, on the other hand, is a little bit lackluster. It's not as bad as something like a base model 3 or 2 series. The M Performance cars have slightly revised and retuned steering systems, which in my opinion are a big benefit, because steering feel is so important. But even then, you know, these cars, whether it's the F80, the F22, the F87, they have that electronic steering rack, which definitely gives quite a synthesized feeling to the steering, I guess you could say. It just sort of has that like rubber bandingness. The steering itself is responsive, the steering is direct, but in terms of that just overall feedback that one would be looking for, it's not always there. Now, getting a little bit more accustomed to this F22 M240i, now that I've had the chance to take it through some of these back roads, I could definitely see that this car could benefit a little bit from a limited slip diff. Just having power being sent to both of the rear wheels as opposed to the open E-diff that this car has would definitely help with the exit cornering speeds and just sort of the transition out of turns with the car to be a little bit smoother, just to have a little more grip. But even then, it's not that bad. I think really you're only going to be desiring something more if you're tracking the car, right? Additionally, this car does have the Edc suspension from factory, as is equipped with all of these M240s, and it's not on lowering springs or anything, and I gotta say, it is slightly a bit of a weak point. I mean, it is pretty damn impressive how hard you can throw this thing into a turn, and the car holds up, the suspension complies with the chassis, and everything does work together pretty well. But when you are really pushing the car, I would like a little bit more of a planted feeling, and also just a little bit of a lower feel with the car. These cars do sit up very high from factory, and as a result of that, you just kind of feel like you're sitting, I don't know, like I have the seating position in its lowest possible setting, but the chassis itself, the body of the car sits up pretty high, and I just feel high up, and as a result of that, it just kind of messes with your psyche when you're driving this car fast. And then on top of that, even this EDC suspension, I have it in Sport Plus right now with MDM traction on. There still is a little bit more body roll than I would like to be feeling. Really, I think this car could benefit significantly from a lowered ride height and a set of lowering springs that have linear spring rates, or even a set of coilovers. A little bit more camber as well, especially on the front axle, would help quite a bit, and just, you know, tuning the alignment settings of this car a little bit more towards the performance side and track side would help a lot with the feeling of this car in these back roads and just overall from a performance perspective. But otherwise, this car is pretty damn awesome. And again, going back to what I was saying originally in this review, this, in my opinion, is one of the best non-M cars that you can buy, that I would still most definitely consider a sports car. The low-end power from 2,500 to 3,000 RPM, you put your foot in, and that twin scroll turbo just instantly there to give you pretty much full boost. My God, guys, this B58 powertrain, whoa. Okay, I see what the owner was telling me about how this thing can get a little bit squirrely. Okay, now I'm really starting to see that I'm pushing this car, trying to keep up. I see where that limited slip differential would come in handy. This thing gets a little bunny hoppy and squirrely, especially if you step into it while entering a turn and exiting as well. That would be a big benefit, especially on track, but wow. I mean, the amount of power that this car has, guys, is stupid. This is on a stock turbo, just a downpipe, a fuel pump, and a tune, and it just, oh my God, it's so responsive. Like, the B58 engine is amazing. amazing, guys, and I'm so happy to be bringing this review of this M240i because my impression of this car is very positive, guys. I wish the ZF8 had a little more kick when you upshifted. Not to mention, guys, it also sounds really good. You know, I love the S55, I love the way it sounds, but I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, and I think more people are going to be inclined towards liking the sound from the B58 than the S55. It's a much smoother sounding inline six, and it has a cleaner, less raspy tone to it, but it goes. And I'm amazed that this isn't an M-car engine. I can't even imagine what the S58 is like in the G82 and G80 M3 competition. That's got to be quite a freaking riot, guys. Wow, it's just, I know I sound like a broken record talking about the power here, but it is so mind-boggling how much you can get out of this engine with just such simple modifications. I mean, that is a three-figure number, a three-digit number right there. I'm not gonna say the exact speed, but Jesus, like that, this car should not have been hitting that speed on that little straight section. But wow, holy crap! Oh, this thing is good fun, damn. I like the M240i, guys. This would be an awesome daily driver. Again, if you're somebody that, like I said, maybe an M car is not quite within your reach, this is something that is so impressive for the money. Wow. And it's smooth, guys. It's just very smooth. It's easy to drive. It's not... There's nothing about this car that makes it overly difficult or scary or intimidating, unlike the S55, which has such a abrupt power band, and the rear end on it is so stiff, and sometimes the suspension is so stiff that when you're driving on the street or like in a canyon, it's very easy to get the tail end to sort of hop out on you. But in this car, there's a lot more compliance with the suspension, and to some degree, while I don't particularly like that, and I think, again, you would find that deficiency on a track setting, maybe in the canyons it's actually a good thing, because the softer suspension and the way that the chassis sort of complies more with the undulations and the imperfections in the road surface definitely help to give it a little bit more of a stable feel, I guess. We're just wrapping up here, just actually cruising back into the spot that we took off from. And wow, guys. I'm sorry if my thoughts were a little bit all over the place throughout this video, but you know, we were just driving fast, having fun. This M240i is a damn impressive machine, especially for the money, the price point that they're selling at. I mean, I know the current state of the market makes them very expensive, but overall, this is a great car, guys. I really like it. So go ahead and check out Matthew's channel from the Speed Addiction. If you are new to the channel, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below, as well as leave a like on this video if you enjoyed the content and you enjoyed the review. I hope to be featuring this car and many more B58s on the channel in the future. A very awesome platform indeed. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.